when you make your split batteries or split capacitors, you have a central system in the middle, and you have put some GaNs material, and then you have put some paper, and then you have put, let's say, aluminum to wrap, and you inserted it in this coil, which is the outer coil, to come to itself. Take one coil and put it out to load, to go to your stacker unit here, and take another spring and load it back into the base of your capacitor. If you don't use aluminum, or you just use a plain aluminum or anything else, you create a capacitor composite battery system. What I called last week with you that you create, or a couple of weeks ago, about the split capacitors, you can add a nano-coated aluminum or titanium as the wrapping around this center nano-coated material. Make sure this film is nano-coated. If you nano-coat this material, which now, if you go like to the Alex system, he uses the aluminum foil, nano-coat the aluminum foil. Take the paper out of the equation. You can still keep the paper in, because paper from the material which is made is already in the GaNs state of weakness. Then when you put your, what I call GaNs in between as you roll, and your coils are nano-coated already, this structure will work totally in a plasma condition. You have no more matter state, even though your aluminum foil created a condition for containment of the GaNs itself. Now the matter state here is not a matter anymore. It works totally in a plasma state. So for the first time, now that we are reaching the position of lift, you have to learn how to make a real plasma condition battery or energy source. You had the center beam nano-coated. I wish I was in this, I could use the board in the center. So this is nano-coated the way we had. You added the GaNs on it. Then you added the nano-coated, let's say, aluminum or titanium. And then you have put your, what I call, I don't have another color here, but you have put your coils on it. This is your coils which is over it. And then you have put another coil which is feeding back to the base or of the system of your battery. This is the first time you see a full plasmatic battery condition. This is playing both the capacitor and a battery storage. The capacitance will come from this end, and the battery part, energy part, will come from this end. The only difference is, up to now you use non-nano-coated, now you nano-coat your aluminum foil or whatever you use to coat it. Because this is nano in a plasma condition, nano-coated, you have a GaNs, you have a nanomaterial, and two different structure. You have to make sure this film here which you wrap is not the same as the wire you use, that you have a difference in the strength. So you have a split capacitor battery energy source, and it's this kind of system which you have to use to energize your stacker units for space technology. In a coming time, then you have to teach yourself how to control the energy output from here. And the energy output control here, the best way to be done is as following. I call this unit, let's say A. What you need to do is the continuity and stability of the energy. Continuity or stability of the, what you call plasma strength difference, and then continuity of the flow of the plasma. So you have to do such a structure. We call a frame with 4 A's in it. You put 4 of these structures in a parallel condition in one frame. Then you make these in series. If I call this structure B, you put 3 B's, minimum 3 B's, in series, that this power your system as a normal power supply. This process will give you a lot of benefits and flexibilities. What does this mean? Is that here you guarantee the potential difference. Here you add the current of the plasma flow increases and increases. So you can dictate in your process, if you want to have a weaker current, you disconnect from here to here. If you want a stronger, you connect here. If you want very strong, you connect from here to here. But as we are going through this process, you have to remember another point. In this structure, if you remember, we said you put the GaNs, as you always do, you put the GaNs on the tissue. Now you put the GaNs between the nano layer and nano layer. You can play a very straightforward game, and that is, when you have the central beam, and then you put the GaNs, or you put your paper here to cover the GaNs, and then you have still the GaNs going through the paper itself anyway. Then you have your, what I call the nano-coated wrapper, which creates a condition of separation and storage. Don't forget, when you look at this from the top, you have this. You have the center, then you have the GaNs, and then you have your nano-coated film. And don't forget, this thing will look like this because you roll it inside. And then on top of it, you put the coil of your nano-coated coil, which comes up, or another one which goes down. Now, before, at this stage, when you're putting the GaNs in between, now you can play a very straightforward move, which is to take these GaNs, which you're placing here, and make it of the composite of, let's say, zinc, CH3, apple essence, orange, meat, and everything else you want. So you can make one of each 4 of these cells, one for vegetable, one for meat, one for whatever you need. And when you connect your system to your Magrav stock, which is here, placed here, this, if we call now this structure C, then this is your structure C here. These are all structure Cs. Don't forget the energy from your power supply battery plasmas now are powering your, what we call the crystal structure Magrav systems or your coil systems. So what happens? The energy of orange will flow through your reactor. The energy of meat will flow to your reactor because you decided this stacker C will have amino acid or whatever in it. And as you remember, in all our teachings in the past and what we saw with others, and you have tested yourself, when you had a cup and you put an orange, you made the gans of the orange, the energy of the gans of orange was transmitted and you tasted the orange or the banana or whatever. So, because the field transfer. Now you understand the structure, how you feed yourself in the space. And this energy of orange or vitamin C will last for centuries. Man will not go hungry in space. The reality is that if you brought everything together, all one can tell you, we have made gans of ibuprofen, we have made ganses of lemon, we have made the gans of tea, we have made gans of aspirin. When you add this gans or the ganses of you like, in these, you dictate if you have a, let's say, a pain, inflammation, you don't need to take the anti-inflammatory. You already built the gans of ibuprofen here. And in the further teachings as it comes, if you can measure the strength of the ibuprofen, for example, which gives anti-inflammatory, you don't need to put that there. You can release the energy of that according in the combination of how you set your power supplies. So in interaction with power supplies, now you become totally independent of food source, medicine source in your space travels. Because don't forget, here ibuprofen has a specific strength which within the body of the man operates to remove field energies. You already have a plasmatic ibuprofen. You call it a pen. So if you understand that measure, this measure allows me to get rid of the pain of cancer, or this measure allows me to get around the camp of burn. Immediately you can adjust. So this way you become independent of any matter state now that you can measure the strength of it. This is what I told you. I'll teach you everything that those of you who understand are ready to take off in the right way. But when you take off, you have to understand the control. You have to understand how to feed yourself and how you can increase it. How you can put a number of B's next to each other, or a number of C's in different combination will give you the strength you want. There is no excuse for man to be on this planet and suffering the way it does from now on. We are none to blame. We come across the process of teaching and learning over centuries. And now we have reached the pinnacle of science. We understand the work of the universe the way it is, not the way we want it to go in the matter state. If you start putting these together, understanding this, I have given you more or less a full spectrum of living without the state of matter, but using the state of matter to create the environment of a plasma, which one leads to the other and one brings into the other point. This is the secret of creation.
I should be able to.
Pardon?
I did stop the screen share.
Okay. So what you've done up to now is your, what I call the negative of your split battery or plasma, and you went like this. What you can do, you can make a coil of the center, wrap it with a GaNs and a nano-coated material, and then split it with a coil. Split coil again. So your inner system, you make it to a spiral. Depends how you work with this, you will find a much more powerful system in energy development and release. Instead of using a single wire, which you've been using up to now, use a twisted coil inside as negative.
Yes, I'm trying this.
Yeah, so this will give you a more powerful system, and in fact you can literally, what we do, we test it, you will see it, is you can even put a single core in the middle, put a spiral, still put a GaNs and a nano-coated material, and then GaNs and a nano material, again copper, what do you call it, aluminum or titanium, and then you put another spiral on it. So in fact you have a 3-system center, and in all the 3 you have to make sure you go on a feedback. What it means this, I've been out of the picture. You have your center, you put a coil, you can make even this a split coil and feed back, and take this up as 1 point, nano coat it, put a material on it, and then put a second spiral on it, on top of this. This system will give you a more powerful battery condition that you might use, especially if you want to use it for a powerful DC. So your system works spiral, nano-coated, with a nano-coated material with a GaNs, and then a split spiral on top of it. This gives you a powerful, more powerful system. And if you want to use a center beam that you connect to it, you'll find out you achieve a huge power supply as a plasma supply battery. This should give you anything up to about 4 of them should give you about 6 to 8 volts, and just about something just over 200 to 400 milliamps when you use them as stacker unit. And there is a way you can amplify using plasma. I will teach you in the coming time. The amplifying plasma not necessarily can be done by the way you do it. You can absorb, accelerate, and stop.
And I show you my
system. You can build what we call cross batteries. Cross batteries or power supplies are not something which is very well known. The cross batteries is where you take spiral and you repeat the same process. This is your outlet. You repeat the same process of nano coating and cables and the rest of it in a split half and half, where your half all the 4 feeds to the same base. And you have power from the outer coil, the other split out, where you can dictate, in a way, a system of power supply connected to one center. This has a lot of advantages and is very extremely powerful, but it gives you the beauty with it is the stability of the supply. You don't get that much fluctuation. It's very, very consistent. Because you have your, if you look at it, you have your base coming up, and then you have your 4, where your 4 coils or straight lines, whatever we call it, this will feed into one supply. This will feed into one supply. This will do the same, and this will do the same. But at the same time, your second half core will feed to the same base. This is your capacitance. So somewhere to create a stable output continuously from the 4, this is one of the best ways to create a powerful plasma condition power supply, where all your 4 bases come to one base and you work through one base. This is a combination between the parallel and the series. You decide how, but because continuously supply comes from all 4, it gives you a very stable power supply. For systems like your bikes and that kind of thing, you need this kind of power supply.